I had a purpose. I wanted to be one of the best basketball players to ever play. And anything else that was outside of that lane, I didn't have time for. I made that deal with myself at 13 years old. So everything I saw, whether it was TV shows, whether it was books I read, people I talked to, everything was done to try to learn how to become a better basketball player. Everything. And so when you have that point of view, then literally the world becomes your library to help you to become better at your craft.
All right, everybody, we got another episode of the Reserve Man podcast, and it's a little different episode tonight because, it's a sad podcast, actually.
Right.
Unless you've been living under a rock, you've heard the news of Kobe Bean Bryant and his daughter were killed in a helicopter crash on Sunday, and there were a total of 9 people that lost their lives. It's just a real unfortunate event. Mm-hmm. Our thoughts and prayers go to Kobe's family and the other victims' family,
right,
and everybody that Kobe touched that's hurt by this event. I know a lot of us are Kobe fans. People respect Kobe. A lot of people weren't Kobe fans that I've seen.
I'm one of them, but
mourning, struggling with this.
Definitely.
But I want to get everybody's reaction, and I'm going to start it off with Shag. Shag is probably the biggest Kobe fan I know. So I just kind of want to hear your thoughts and what you think about your favorite moment of Kobe's career.
Well, I don't know if I can get to my favorite moment right now just because it's still, like, that was a big shock. And I wasn't initially a Kobe fan. I was a Kobe fan initially because I'm such a huge Laker fan.
Mm-hmm.
I became a huge Kobe fan because of how hard he has gone for the Lakers, and he has the second running longest tenure at one city on one team. The only person that beat him out was Dirk Nowitzki, who had 21 years in Dallas.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And Kobe has the longest tenure as a Laker, so I came because I loved the Lakers. I loved Kobe, but I loved Kobe even more because of how he always put the Lakers on his back, how extremely hard he played, and it was just a big shock to me. Like, I've never been a person to be extremely upset by any superstar or any,
he's passing away. Yeah.
Anybody passing away. It may have touched me, but none, because I didn't grow up with nobody idolizing nobody like I idolized Kobe and him going hard for my Lakers. So it's still very surreal. It don't seem real.
It don't seem real to me either.
Right.
That's major that you brought up the fact that he did play 20 years with the Lakers, and then what those years in between the Shaq era and the era where he, got him 2 more rings, but the Lakers weren't really good, and he was still just going in.
Even if he did retire after his last ring, he would still be the 5th leading he would be in 5th place as far as people who have been on the team the longest.
Right.
That's a lot of loyalty, man. But that's good perspective, man. I always appreciate your Lakers perspective,
Right.
Stan, what's going on in your mind, man? What you?
Man, you know me. I was never a Lakers fan. It's not that I didn't like Kobe. I always respected Kobe. I remember having debates with people back in the day about, Jordan and Kobe. And I would never disparage Kobe, or I always picked MJ, but I've always had the respect for Kobe because he was the closest thing that I've ever seen to MJ. Like everything, like his shot, the way he played the game, his attitude, his competitiveness, everything. It was kind of mimic Jordan, and so I always respected him from that standpoint. I mean, I rooted against him because, like I say, I was never a Lakers fan. And we had the Hornets at the time, and Kobe come to town and drop 40, 50 on us like it wasn't nothing. But I don't have any particular things that I would say a ton of things that stand out because there's so many things with Kobe. Well, I'll talk about a couple things though. One, I never played basketball in high school, and I remember when Kobe came into the league and how like confident he was. Against grown men.
Right.
He came in with a certain level of confidence about himself and competitiveness that I always like admired, and I consider myself kind of not a hyper competitive person, but I'm very competitive, and I do feel like he inspired me in a way to be that competitive. I know some of it just naturally comes from my mom. My mom's a competitive person, but just seeing Kobe being that way at such a young age against, like I say, grown men, grown professional men, was just something to see. And another thing I think about is when he tore his Achilles, and he wasn't like you got to come get caught me off the court and this, that, and the other. He took his free shot, free throws.
He hit 2 free throws to tie the game.
Hit 2 free throws and then walked off the court. And to me, he was just like a G for that, man. Because I know one thing I complain about with the NBA now, or just in general, I feel like
Cat's too soft.
Too soft. They need rest.
Mm-hmm.
They got to monitor stuff and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, man, Kobe was out there every game.
Absolutely.
If he was able to play, he played. And I always respected that. This stuff where they got to, monitor how they,
load management.
Load management. Like, to me, that's just like the most ridiculous thing, man. Like, if you can play, you play. And I felt like Kobe, not only did he play because he knew he was just a competitor and he wanted to beat the man in front of him, I think he also understood the importance of, man, they have people that pay good money to see you play. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, you're an athlete, you're trying to win a championship, but you're also an entertainer to a certain degree. And you owe it to the people who will help funding your salaries.
Right.
And I felt like he always was cognizant of that. And, he made it a point to go out and show out every time he was on the court. And so, like I said, while I was never a Lakers fan per se, I always respected Kobe. And this one, like you say, Shag, I'm not really a emotional guy like that. I haven't really tripped about too many like professionals passing away. I remember Michael Jackson passed. I mean, I was sad, of course, because memories I had of Michael when I was a kid, and just other celebrities. Even like Pac or Biggie and stuff like that, but like this one it just hit different. Mm-hmm. It definitely hit different because another reason I think I admired Kobe was because off the basketball court, well, I wouldn't just say off, but with the Mamba mentality and how he was on the court, but also how he was like off the court. And I felt like that was just inspiration for people to kind of attack anything they do in life. And I think that's one reason why he was relatable. Because, like, I really just saw Kobe being a billionaire. Like, I felt like it was just destined for him to become a billionaire.
Yeah.
He was a real smart dude, and just the way he conducted himself, like, I was just like, I mean, off the court, I actually started liking Kobe a lot more.
Right.
Because I'm like, he was somebody I could see I want to be like Kobe. And, it also, and the last thing I said is it also hit different mainly because his daughter was involved.
Oh, yeah, that was sad.
And I remember, seeing the news, and they were reporting initially that it could have been all his daughters, mm-hmm. and I was just like, damn, that's I hope that's not the case. And to see that it was his daughter, and then there were two other, two of her teammates and their family members that passed as well. I mean, it's just sad, I think I'm not a father, but I would think as a father, I guess a fear that you would have is that you couldn't be there for your kids or protect them. And in that moment, I feel like he felt like he probably couldn't do that. And to me, that was just kind of heartbreaking to even think about that, because I would never want to be in that position.
Man, somebody said that Kobe died holding his daughter. Like, I don't know how true that is. I don't know how you can tell, obviously, from based on what happened. But they say he was holding her as they went down.
Well, I guess because people would imagine that's what a father would do in
Right.
a
Yeah,
situation
I
if you
wouldn't be
did see
surprised
it
at
coming.
that.
But we don't know that. We would like to think that's what happened
Right.
because of how much love he did have for his daughters.
Correct.
That was, you know, we're not supposed to have a favorite, but you know that was probably
was
clearly his
yeah.
favorite because she was the one who
She
picked up the
shared
rock.
his- yeah.
She
Right.
shared his love for the game, and you know she sat courtside with him. The other girls weren't. He has an older daughter, and she's more like her mom. But she was the one who picked up the rock and wanted to be just like her dad. She sat courtside with him. She laughed and joked with him. She played on for his team that was coached by his friend and whatnot. So you could tell they shared a special bond. So you know that in that moment, if they knew they were gonna die, he probably did anything he could
To
comfort her.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, Jay, I'm coming to you, man. What's on your mind when it comes to Kobe?
I'm similar to Stan. I was never a Kobe fan. I was never a Lakers fan either. I probably was a little tough on Kobe early on because
Yeah, you just watch your mouth.
They-
Go
they
ahead.
compared him to Jordan, and I was such a huge Jordan fan.
Right.
But I came to have an appreciation for Kobe in a sense that, like along the lines of what Stan was saying, since Mike left, he's probably the closest thing that you'll find as far as mentality-wise. I'm not as huge on LeBron as a lot of people are because he doesn't have that killer instinct and self-motivation
Right.
that Michael had and Kobe had. And no one else in this generation of players seems to have it. Not like they did.
Right.
And it's not just basketball. I'm sure he had that same philosophy and motivation towards whatever he did in life.
Right.
And I think we can all learn from that. We all excel in things that we do if we brought that kind of tenacity to it.
Right.
Yeah. Man, my experience with Kobe is a little different. Like Kobe got drafted when we were in 7th grade, or that summer going into 7th grade, I think. And I just thought Kobe was like the coolest thing, like he was 17, he was in the league, he was in the dunk contest, won the dunk contest, he grew his hair. I remember I got my mom to buy me a pair of Adidas sweat wind pants with the 3 stripes on the side because that's what Kobe wore back then, you know. So because I thought Kobe was the coolest guy, like
Even though you were a Jordan fan.
even though I was a Jordan fan, I thought Kobe was cool, because I felt like he was relatable because he was young. Like Jordan was when I started watching basketball, Michael Jordan was in his prime already.
Right.
So, but I was always relating to Kobe a little bit more because Kobe was on shows like All That. He was on Moesha.
I remember that.
He
Took
was
Brandon to prom.
He took Brandon to prom. Like dude. So he was like a kid in the NBA, and I kind of identified with that. And I was a Bulls fan once Mike retired. I watched the Lakers for a little bit because I'm an LSU guy, and when I was a kid, my dad made me watch Shaq.
Right.
So I watched Shaq, and then when Shaq and Kobe had their beef, I kind of sided with Shaq, and I was like, man, how the hell with Kobe, man?
But to tell you that, man, Kobe was so big. I picked my football number based on Kobe number. I took an 8 as a wide receiver because of Kobe. Ain't got nothing to do with basketball.
Hey, Kobe was cool, but I stopped liking Kobe.
You stopped liking Kobe because of Shaq. But let me tell you what Shaq did. Shaq, because Kobe died, Shaq weighed something within himself, and I'm gonna send y'all the article. He called all his friends he had a beef with, and he said, "I'm not doing this no more. Anything petty, I'm gonna put that aside." Because he regrets even though they eventually squashed it, they had a little beef again in 2019. But he said he regret having that long-standing feud with Kobe because eventually it wasn't worth it. Like, look at the people that's around you that you may be beefing with, or you had a little spat with. If they died, would that thing that you fighting over still matter?
Right.
Or would you be hurting because that person is gone?
Yeah.
If
absolutely.
you don't care if they gone, if it's that big a problem you don't care that they're gone, then maybe you have a legitimate beef. But if that person that you have an attitude or misunderstanding with or have a long-standing feud with today, if they died, would you regret having a feud or having a petty beef?
No, I agree with that. And I just think about the mentality of Kobe, man. Like I remember the Utah series. Like I was watching that series when he kept taking the last shot at the end. He kept, shot like 4 air balls, and I was like, man, why is Kobe shooting the ball? Man, look, give it to Shaq, Eddie Jones, somebody else that's not airballing these shots. But he really like wanted to take the shot. He wanted that moment.
He embraced the moments.
He embraced it. And it's crazy, because I always love my parallels in sports. For his last game to be against the Utah Jazz, completely different team, obviously, 20 years apart.
And dropped a 60-piece.
It dropped a 60-piece, man. I must have watched that game on YouTube
multiple times,
like 50 times. Just how like he just left everything on the court. So like Kobe, he was one of the guys, man, that I started liking when I got older again. Because we watch people. We always talk about like LeBron. Y'all brought up LeBron, and LeBron is a physical specimen. But we always talk about, well, will LeBron be able to adapt when his athleticism fades? And when Kobe's athleticism started to fade, I was like, bruh, Kobe's mechanics are unreal. I mean, Kobe might be the most mechanically sound basketball player to ever walk this earth. I mean, his form on his jumper was perfect. His footwork was perfect. Like, he did everything so mechanically sound, and I don't think he gets credit for that because he took some shots that weren't necessarily high percentage shots.
Right.
But man, I just remember his mechanics, bro. Like he was that dude, man. So
where would you rank Kobe all time?
Where would I rank Kobe all time? Well,
see, that's a
tough one.
That's hard because I can make arguments to say that he's top 5, but I can also put other players above him. I think I could put at least a few players above him that I don't know. It's just it's a really, really hard question for me. But if I just had to say, I would just say top 5. Definitely behind Jordan. I will put him in front of LeBron, even though I think LeBron is a more all-around talented player and can do more. If I'm picking, I need somebody to take that last shot. I need somebody to, motivate the team, be on everybody, hold everybody to a certain standard. I'm picking Kobe. Because I feel like Kobe, if you ain't playing right, he gonna come in and slap you. Just kind of like Jordan would do. So, and I feel like I have a similar mentality as Kobe. And so, as if I was a GM, I would be picking Kobe.
Yeah, man. They just had a story where Lou Williams told a story when he was on the Lakers. They got blown out against the Trailblazers. And Kobe went in the locker room and took everybody's shoes. Took everybody's shoes that wore Kobe's shoes.
Right.
And was like, man, y'all soft. Y'all don't need to wear this. But his mentality.
Yeah, that video, you saw the one about when he was like, this is why we lost 20 games.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, dude's mentality was just different, man. And I just really respected that. I think in society now, I hate the fact that everybody gets that's another thing that stands out. Everybody gets like a second or third place trophy. And I remember he highlighted his team, his little team he was coaching. He clowned them, and he was like the fourth place winners or something like that.
The emoji, that side eye emoji.
Yeah, and so he was clowning them because you could tell he didn't respect the fact that they were fourth place, and he was like, "We gotta do better." Absolutely. And people were like on his case about it, but I'm just like,
nah.
If my child was like fourth place, I'm gonna always encourage him, of course. But at the end of the day, you ain't winning.
We ain't celebrating fourth place,
right? You need to be motivated to work harder,
right?
So you can be better.
So the reason I put him up, and we're not supposed to be comparing them no more, especially since LeBron has to not be compared.
With that, I'm like, LeBron, you gotta be quiet with that.
And I'm gonna respect him in the moment because he was grieving, but they don't have the same mentality to me.
They don't.
Kobe and Jordan, they got that mentality that as a teammate, you don't want to come back to them and disappoint them.
Right.
Like if you disappoint LeBron, you just be like, hey, I disappointed you, oh well.
Yeah, I agree with that, bro. in overall impact, man, Kobe's death has opened up my eyes to a lot.
Yeah,
Because,
definitely.
I'm watching the Pro Bowl, how terrible that was, but I was watching it, and they stopped the Pro Bowl, they go on the news about Kobe, everybody doing tributes to Kobe in football.
Mm-hmm.
You cut regular TV, everybody's talking about Kobe.
Mm-hmm.
And my favorite Laker has always been Magic, right? And Magic came out and was just like, hey, man, the greatest Laker is gone.
Magic Johnson called him the greatest Laker of all time.
See, you be putting Magic a little bit too high for me.
But if Magic say Kobe's greater than him, I might have to defer to Magic.
Right.
So, if I had to put, to answer Jay's question, obviously for me, Michael Jordan is always gonna be number one.
Mm-hmm.
But this how crazy it was when Howard dropped it in the group. Everybody, my first thing was, man, you lying. That's a fake article. That's how unbelievable it was.
Yeah, that's how it was too.
Everybody, the first time you heard it, it had to be fake news. Like Trump said, that's fake news.
Yeah, that's how it was too. But Mike is my number one. I don't think necessarily like people put LeBron over Kobe, and I think that's a little bit premature.
Yeah.
LeBron don't have 5 rings. LeBron wasn't the defensive type of player that Kobe was. So I don't necessarily put LeBron ahead of Kobe.
He got 12 all defensive players. Kobe.
Oh, I'm about to say, I know LeBron don't have that.
But no, all right, so even there, I'm picking Kobe just off of, even though LeBron might be more athletic, have more athletic ability, he's bigger, faster, stronger. It's that mentality at the end of who you want to take the last shot.
And that's it.
And
that's everything.
I didn't want LeBron to be a Laker because of how he played everywhere else. He didn't have that same, and I fought. Y'all know how mad I was when he became a Laker. I support him now because he's a Laker, but I did not want him to come to the Lakers because he didn't have that it factor. Because I saw LeBron go to the bench when his team is down by 30. Kobe didn't care. Kobe still in there firing up shots. 2 minutes left. He down by 30. He playing like they down by 2.
Right.
Like they down by 3. It's a we can always win this mentality. What made you fall in love with this game? He was never gonna quit on you. He was gonna go out there and shoot with the broken finger, which he played in games with the broken fingers. That's what, like Stan say, people too soft these days. He's gone out there with the splint on his fingers and still shooting, still firing up the J.
Right.
So for me, I think Kobe's clearly top 3. If you want to put Kareem Abdul-Jabbar ahead of Kobe, just all time, that's fine. I'm fine with that. But Kobe to me is better than everybody not named Michael Jordan.
I was gonna say, arguably for me, it might be Mike, Kareem, then Kobe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's fair. So
I mean, our generation didn't grow up watching Kareem, but if you looked at some old footage, checked out his stats,
well, that skyhook was unstoppable.
Right.
unstoppable. Especially if you go look at that his time in Milwaukee.
Oh
Right.
yeah, he was better in Milwaukee than he was in L.A. to me.
Yeah, he was younger.
True.
Right.
And my bad, I didn't realize I was cutting off your top 5.
No, well, the thing about it, man, the purpose of this is to honor Kobe. So I was running it, but I felt like you was honoring him, so it's all good. So I feel like let's get everybody's favorite Kobe moment.
I mean, it's like I said earlier. I mentioned the when he tore his Achilles and he took the 2 free throws and then he walked off the court. That definitely stood out to me. Then I think recently one thing that stood out to me, I saw him doing an interview and he was talking about his kids, and he was saying that he definitely he's busy. He's on the road for 5 days or 2 weeks at a time when he's doing road trips and stuff like that. And he was talking about the fact that his wife was like, oh, well, when you're in town, like, I still can go pick up the kids and this, that, and the other. And he was like, no, I'm going to pick up the kids.
Right.
But he was saying that because he cherished any time he could get, with his kids. And so, I don't know, man. I just kind of admired that about him.
It would have to be one of the playoff game winners because that was his mentality. He always wanted to take. Was it 2006 against the Suns, or was that the I'm pretty sure that was the Suns.
Yeah, he had one against the Suns. You talking about in the white jerseys where he kind of like
Mhm.
moved his jersey to show his
Or
chest?
show his heart.
Yeah.
And most recently, some of his wins with, trusting his teammates to knock down the big shots, the Derek Fisher passes, because Derek Fisher was clutch for them, and he pushed everybody to be better. And one of my favorite things about is after he hit that dagger on you, he gonna hit that little grimace that we all hate. He hit that little lip bite, that little gonna walk down the
That's
court.
funny.
You know, my boy had ice in his veins, and I'm truly gonna miss watching him play, watching, the things he had going with charities and his daughters, and because I think that was huge for him to go. He didn't stop playing basketball because he didn't have sons. He started teaching women to play, and I think his daughter would have been a little killer in the game, and she probably would have had a major shoe deal with Nike eventually.
Yeah, I think she would have been one of those revolutionary athletes that would have kind of brought the WNBA to the forefront. I could see that from her. But if I think about my favorite Kobe moments, I think about two come to mind. I think about, on one of my favorite players of all time, he crossed up Scotty in the playoffs in the Western Conference Finals and threw the lob to Shaq. And to me, that was kind of like, okay, I'm here. Like I'm a big time player and making big time moments. And then my second one is his jersey retirement speech. When I was going through some things in my career with, kind of, taking a step back, and I would listen to that speech like every day where he was talking about the journey. And he said to his little girls, look, I really want y'all to understand this is not the dream. The dream is waking up every morning, working out late, staying up late. The dream is in the journey. And if you fall in love with the journey, your dreams won't come true. Something greater will. And then he pointed at his jerseys. And for me, that was just so motivating to kind of just let me know that, everything is about the journey. It's all temporary.
Right.
So you can kind of be one place one day and eventually move forward to a level of significance. You know what I mean? So that was huge for me. So that's my favorite.
To piggyback off you, I kind of feel like his mentality work-wise is why I work in something that I love, because he never felt like basketball was work.
Yep.
Because he loved it.
I agree.
He never felt like the practice was work. He never felt like putting, training was work. He felt like it was what he had to do to be the best at what he loved. And he loved being the best.
And I think that's why everybody loves Kobe. But with that being said, rest in peace, Kobe.
No doubt.
You will be missed. You touched people that weren't basketball fans, and yeah. Anybody else? Anything?
Nah, brother, I think you said it all.
All right. And we out.
All right, peace.